G'day viewers, new video, new country. No prizes for guessing where I am now. But if you feel so inclined, leave a comment and I'll get back to you with the correct answer after I've left, of course. But found a little nature reserve here on the outskirts of the city. I don't really like spending time in cities, if I'm honest, especially here in Europe. I'm not exactly sure what it is, but it's just a really different energy. It's probably because it's cloudy pretty much every day, but knowing the language doesn't help either. Today I want to speak about the language of health once again, incorporating some of my stories and experiences to yet again attempt to convince you of the lifestyle that I live and why I know it to be the best thing for human health and human progress. So not that long ago, walking along a path at a regular pace like this would have been the only thing I could do with my body. There was a time when I was a kid, like a lot of other kids, I had the opportunity of experiencing oneself to the fullest, expressing oneself physically to one's heart's content, until that all came to a grinding halt, starting with a lot of foot pain, a lot of shin pain, knee pain, all connected, in my opinion. Let's go over here for a second. This looks cool. Not a lot of water flowing around here at the moment. Not sure what the weather's been like, but the clouds do look threatening. So I was always into sport as a kid, pretty much any sport, apart from maybe basketball. I've never been really good at that, but I could play it if I wanted to without pain. I played Aussie rules football and was quite into athletics as well. There's a program in Australia, I believe it's still a thing, called Little Athletics, which is basically the Australia-wide athletics program for juniors up until the age of 17 or so. That was a weekly thing. It's probably the last really competitive thing that I engaged in. But yeah, as I said, that all had to stop because I was in so much pain. I would be crying at the end of a race and would oftentimes have to be carried off the track just because I literally couldn't walk anymore. The pain was so excruciating. I'm not sure exactly how long that lasted for, but it was a good while that I just pushed through out of sheer ignorance. I mean, I was barely a teenager at that point. My parents didn't really know what to do either, and that's no fault of theirs. It's just the result of ignorance. Everybody's ignorant to something, and they did the best they could to help me, but sadly it wasn't enough and it wasn't the right thing. I went down the orthotics route, went to a podiatrist. Podiatrist made me some orthotics, maybe gave me some exercises, but apart from that, nobody else really helped me. And as I said, the orthotics didn't work anyway. So this all culminated in me giving up everything, which really sucked actually, and it wreaked havoc on my mental health quite a bit. I ended up getting a paper round as a job at some point. And I can't exactly remember what happened there, but from a physical standpoint, but I don't remember having any issues. So one of the reasons why this all happened was obviously the way I was eating was way too acidic, and that way of eating was inflaming my body much more than it otherwise needed to be. But also it's how to say this, it's all part of it. The acidification of the diet plays a role in when you go through these growth spurts, things are out of balance. So it's also a lot to do with sitting in school a lot, but it doesn't affect everyone, so I can't say that for sure, but the diet definitely does. So yeah, your muscles get shorter and tighter, and it's pulling on the ligaments and tendons, and the body's like, it's too much tension, stop running around and jumping. And the shoes as well are terrible. So it's a lot of factors, but a lot of it can be reversed with diet. And if you're going to do this diet thing, it's not just a diet really. Pretty much everyone I've met doing this has made a whole host of lifestyle changes. I hiked up a mountain in Austria last week, which was awesome. The 2025 Austrian Fruit Fest in the mountains of Bad Gastein, just south of Salzburg. I'll add a link to that in the description below so you can have a look at tickets for next year, because it's just an absolutely fabulous time. I would love to see you there sometime in the future. Well, we hiked up a mountain and almost everybody was wearing some kind of barefoot footwear. Whether it was Vibram 5 fingers and the funny shoes with the toes and the socks. Not everyone, but everyone was eating the same diet as me, and we all just powered up it like it was nothing. From all age groups, from 20 to 70 and beyond. So that was pretty awesome. It just goes to show what can be achieved when this kind of lifestyle of a raw vegan diet is followed for a long period of time. So I gave up on sport for a long time. It's from my mid-teens, even before that, up until just after COVID, or just after the first COVID lockdown in my area was lifted. I got into Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, something I never thought I'd ever do, but for one reason or another, I think it was through a podcast I was listening to at the time, I got into that, and that was the first real sport I engaged in ever since I quit athletics. My upper high school years were just riddled with injury again. All the athletics carnivals that I would normally place well in, I would podium in. The events I was last or just couldn't compete in it at all. I would just sit and watch, which was hard, to say the least. Frustrating. But in a way, I kind of got used to it, because it meant the anxiety that I would feel to have to perform in the events wasn't there, because I knew it just wasn't possible at that time. But I gave it a go anyway at some points, and it just failed miserably, and it just reinforced to me that something was wrong. I didn't know what, but I just had to accept it at the time and come to terms with maybe I won't be able to run again. Things are very different now. Just through sheer circumstance, I don't run as much as I used to, but I can now, along with many other things. I can jump. I walked past a basketball court on my way here through the city, and I stopped and just did a little 10-minute jumping routine, up and down barefoot on the hard concrete. No problems at all. another thing that I never thought I'd be able to do way back when. But through the diet and the type of training that I do, my tissues are way more tension tolerant and way less inflamed. A recipe for success in my book. So what does this look like on a daily basis? So when I'm at a fruit festival, as I was last week, like I said, we eat very well. And I eat pretty good on a daily basis anyway, but the awesome thing about the fruit fests are everything is scheduled and it's pretty much the same thing every day. So we get up, have our morning movement class, then straight into breakfast, which is usually an offering of a couple of different fruits. Ideally, you would just pick one and eat that until you were satisfied. For example, it could be mango and grapes, usually melon. Melon is awesome to have first thing in the morning. Whatever you want, whatever's in season, whatever's ripe. That's a big tip I can give you. If the fruit's not ripe, choose something else. Your body will thank you for it, and it's going to light up your taste buds a whole lot more. Then you go about your day at a fruit fest. There's a whole bunch of lectures to teach you about why you're doing what you're doing and to reinforce your way of thinking, give you some science behind it. And then you have lunch about 1 o'clock. If you were doing this intuitively, then you would just wait until you were hungry. But it's not the same hunger that you feel on a cooked food diet. Most people feel hunger in the stomach, when it's actually just the sensation of the stomach shrinking and things detoxing in the digestive tract from the previous days. So that can be used as a cue to eat, but it's not true hunger. True hunger is a watery or wetting sensation in the throat, kind of like a mouth-watering sensation. That is hunger. So it requires stimulation of the senses. So get yourself around some fresh, ripe, raw, organic fruit and veg and see what happens. What do you want to taste? What do you want to put in your body, and what do you want to have serve you? Over time, this will change. I'm staying at a friend's place in the city here, and they're mostly raw, but some of the ingredients were less than ideal. I don't normally have any of the pungent foods, so I'm talking about onion, garlic, chili, ginger, maybe. Ginger's okay, I had a little bit in a smoothie, but definitely the stuff that is grown under the ground, all the bulbs and stuff like that, that give off toxic fumes when you cut them open. The sauce that we had on the salad had way too much onion in it, and my body just rejects that vehemently, almost instantly. And it was just uncomfortable up until the next day when I was able to detox it all out through all the different channels. So you've got urination, perspiration, defecation, and respiration. Coats the tongue really quickly. For me, onion and garlic, and just wants to get out. So I have a tongue scraper. I would highly recommend you get one of those, because as you start to do this more and more, you will become more sensitive to these foods, and they will want to get back out most often the way they came in, as soon as possible. So lunch can be more fruit, about 1 o'clock, and then depending on how much activity you've done for the day, how many calories that food has, you'd want to have a top up of fruit before your dinner, ideally before sunset, At a festival, it's around 5:30, 6 o'clock if they're running on time. And that is when you can have your savory salad with the fruit beforehand, as I said. So this can be any cuisine, really. There's no limitation just because the food is raw. I would say it's actually more versatile and it's far healthier for you. So we had a Mexican night, a Thai night, an Austrian night with a fantastic apple strudel, which we had for lunch. But my point still stands. Yeah, we had Thai with a raw pad Thai recipe. All authentic ingredients that you would find in that cuisine. And it just tasted awesome, and you can just eat to your heart's content, basically. There's usually always enough food. And if you like eating, this is the perfect diet. Because you can just eat and eat and eat. And just like that sensation of the stomach constricting, over time your stomach will learn to expand and accommodate the volume of food that you need to eat to be successful on this diet. So you get used to seeing yourself a little rounder in the mirror after mealtime if you're doing it right, and prepare to go to the bathroom for number twos a lot more frequently, as well as number ones, because obviously you're not cooking the water out of the food. Hence, a raw food diet is a true whole food diet. Once you cook the water out of the food, you've basically cooked most of the nutrients out of it, because water is the predominant nutrient in natural human foods. And that's pretty much it from a diet standpoint. Once you've got that taken care of, you can basically do whatever you want. As I said, being spontaneous, I saw a basketball court and I just decided to run around and jump and see how high I could reach. Definitely not as high as I used to, but I'm expanding with my training, my general athletic base, working on the 5 S's to improve. Let's see if I can list them all. So we've got strength, skill, speed, stamina, and stretch. They're the 5 things we're currently expanding, like spokes on a wheel. The wheel of health, well, this is more like the wheel of fitness, but the wheel of health is also something to be looked at as well. But from every aspect, looking at physical, mental, spiritual health, whatever it may be, holistically, you don't want to have any short spokes. The wheel's not going to turn very nicely and smoothly if the spokes are all different lengths. So be critical of yourself. What can you work on lengthening? You don't want to exactly shorten other spokes. You want to lengthen the ones that are short. You don't want to compromise on anything. And if you find that you have to be compromising, maybe something in your life has to change. Maybe it's work, a partner, your extracurricular activities, the diet. There's always something to change. And if there's resistance against that, dig into that. Ask yourself why, and why, and why, and why. Do a little survey. That's what we did at the retreat, and it was eye-opening. Give yourself a score, 0, 1, or 0, 5, or 10, depending on how good you are at certain things pertaining to health, and go from there. Constantly review and evaluate. How can I be doing this better? It's the only way forwards, really. So that's about it. Start eating raw vegan. Doesn't have to be forever, although it would be the best thing for your health. Don't think about it as a forever thing. And throw out the label. It's just the best description that we have. You're just eating the way nature intended. Whole, fresh, ripe, raw, organic fruits and vegetables. Just think about your next meal effectively. What am I going to eat next? And make sure you have enough food in the house so that you don't make mistakes, or that there's less chance of you slipping up and making a mistake. Eat until you're full. Don't go shopping hungry. Eat enough vegetables like celery so you can stop eating the salt. Cut that out. Salt is basically poison in its mineral form. The body doesn't use that very well at all. That's why you retain so much water, because dilution is the solution to pollution. Your body holds water so it can dilute all the salt you've just eaten, so it can't wreak havoc as much as it would without that mechanism. So if you crave salt, eat more celery. Get your adrenal glands working so your body can actually utilize the salt. It's one of the critical full processes that the body uses or goes through utilization. So I've got a video on that previously on my channel, so if you want to know what the other 3 processes are, you can go and watch that. That's pretty much all I got for now. Continue to leave comments with how you're going with this diet. Any questions you have, reach out to me, send me an email with any questions, or if you want some coaching. And I also almost forgot to mention, I have a school group that you can join where we can communicate pretty much one-on-one or in a group setting. We can have live calls with each other. I've got some courses in there for reversing particular physical issues, whether it's knee pain, shoulder pain, back pain. It'll basically cover the whole lot. You can book a private call with me, or you can get some more information on the 80-10-10 style raw vegan diet, which is what I follow. And if you don't know what that means, I'll probably make a video on it. In fact, that'll probably be the topic of my next video, so stay tuned. That's all for now. Thanks for watching.